So much going on every single day, so much changing hourly. Just read that the state of California has now extended the stay-at-home order for 3 more months. I also watched the video with Senator Rand Paul addressing Dr. Fauci about basically telling him that he is not the end-all be-all of science and medicine, and that he doesn't believe that he is correct in the decisions that he's making. And then also a really great video with Robert F. Kennedy talking about the new technology that's being rolled out and who is spearheading this whole operation, which, to not my surprise, is Bill Gates. So let's address that one first, and I will play video clips of all this content for you. So with the new technology, if you guys have been out, or if you've been out and just haven't noticed, I suggest everyone seriously takes a really good look around their neighborhoods, their streets, their highways, and look for these new technology, since I can't say the actual name, on your street corners and everywhere else. They are very easy to spot and identify, and I can add some pictures in here. I do put them in my stories. The really big ones you can't miss. They're really actually scary looking. Those are everywhere. They're outside of businesses, they're outside of neighborhoods, schools, churches, and they're also implementing those things in schools, which is really scary as well, because another thing to talk about is this Kawasaki syndrome that you're now seeing in children that strongly resembles overexposure to radiation. So those cases are popping up, and that's my opinion. That's the opinion of many people in the medical field. I am not in the medical field, but based on the research that I have done, it's a strong possibility that those are the connections, because it's like all of a sudden we're seeing these same symptoms now occur in children, where we do know that this virus was not affecting children. In one of the videos, it says, I think Rand Paul mentions that almost 0% of the population children are affected by. So very, 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 very small number of children have been affected by this. So that's one thing. And what Rand Paul is saying to Dr. Fauci essentially is that with the studies that are coming out and with the numbers that are coming out, there is so much conflicting information, and that he is in total disagreement of how he's been handling this, as well as closing schools for children. Since there is such a small number of cases in children, why are we keeping these kids home from school? He's talking about, the possibility of not having schools open for another year when the young population is not affected. It's very bizarre, and Dr. Fauci does insinuate at the end of that video that, don't be too sure that it's not affecting children. We don't really know what's going on with this whole thing, and we need to not be too sure that it's not going to affect this young population, which is scary, because as many people have mentioned, many doctors have mentioned, that there is going to be a second wave. Whether or not this second wave is an actual illness, or if it is in response to the new technology that is rolled out everywhere around us, nobody would know the difference, because they are very similar. They look very similar to the symptoms of the illness. So going back to talking about Robert F. Kennedy and what he is mentioning about the new technology and who is at the spearhead of it, which is Bill Gates, that they have spent trillions of dollars to implement this new technology everywhere, and how it is going to be used to control our entire lives. So what they are doing is they're advertising it as faster movies, downloads, faster internet service, and it's completely unnecessary. We know that we live in a very fast world now. We have everything at our fingertips already. So the fact that you're pushing it based on that alone, to spend trillions of dollars to put up these towers and lamps by the tens of thousands all over the country and globally, is pretty insane. Again, the numbers don't add up. To spend $1 trillion on this when it's being advertised as something so minuscule is very strange, when we know that this new technology has been, as early as the 70s, I believe they were testing this long, long ago. And I did read that in an article somewhere, and I have to find it. So these crazy radiation waves and stuff have been around a lot longer than we could ever imagine. And I know that they've been using them in the military for facial recognition purposes for, I guess, around 15 years, possibly longer. Don't quote me on that. So the possibilities of what the new technology has to offer is complete and utter control of every part of your life. So one of the examples that Robert F. Kennedy used was the fact that there were 9 or 10 or 11 surfers that were arrested in Malibu for surfing. They were only people in the ocean, so they were arrested and fined $1,000 for surfing. So if this new technology is implemented, what will happen is they want to move to a cashless society, which has been rumored for a long time that they want to have a cashless society. So that if you are microchipped, which is what Bill Gates also is pushing for, though with the cashless society, if you don't plan on ever paying that ticket, it will be automatically taken out of your account because everything is going to be connected to this new technology. So whether it's your buying habits, your data, what you do in your everyday life, you will be monitored, and that information will then be put in a database for obviously many reasons, your health, everything. So everything will be controlled, and it's pretty terrifying. And a lot of people don't think that it is. They might think that it's a good idea or that this is just some big conspiracy theory or hoax, which we can assure you that it's not, because there's too much information out there that is stating exactly what I'm saying, exactly what these people that have been doing this for years have been saying. So if you really get down to it and if you really look into it, you will find all this information yourself. You can deny it as much as you want. You can think that it's not real or a possibility, but based on what we're seeing now, it's very difficult for you to say that this is just conspiracy. They want to obviously push for the vaccine. So the fact that they're talking about this next wave of the illness resurfacing, nobody will be able to make the determination if it's from the illness or if it's from the new technology and the exposure to it. Because like I've said in many other videos, they have not done any testing in the United States with humans. And there's some really great information in my interview with Dr. Buttar that I posted yesterday regarding all this stuff and all these mandatory shots, since I can't say the word, have not even been tested on animals. They just want to go straight to injecting it into humans, and nobody knows the repercussions of that either. So how long are we going to be guinea pigs for? There is some really great information out there, and I hope that you guys will continue to research. And those of you that still want to go against the grain, I really hope that you wake up soon, because no matter what, we're all in this together. And the fact that the stay-at-home order was just extended in the state of California, what's going to happen to the people that truly cannot survive off of whatever government funding we are being given? I know a lot of people aren't given that. I applied for unemployment over a month ago, never received anything. So it's just like, okay, at what point are people going to wake up to say, something's not right with all this shit? I mean, obviously there's alarm bells going off for a lot of us, but not enough of us is what I should say. So many businesses are being closed. People are being arrested for opening their businesses to be able to literally provide for their families. It's not even like a joke anymore. That it's like, oh, people are selfish. It has nothing to do with that. And what Rand Paul also says is that the numbers of the deaths from this virus do not warrant a pandemic statewide, and nationwide rather. And Dr. Fauci doesn't really have much to say to that other than sitting there with his thumb up his ass like he does every day. So I encourage you to watch these videos that I post with these interviews and the information that is being given, because there's too many people that are still not willing to look at this as something that is alarming and as a way of complete and utter total control, so that people are just so dependent on the government that they have no choice but to obey whatever they're saying for you to do. So again, I always say I hope this information helps. Share these videos. I think there's really good information from the people that have been doing this for very, very many years, and they want to inform people. And That thing back there is a wall decoration. It is not any Luciferian or Satanism or satanic anything. So please get your head out of your ass and stop looking for clues for everything. The only message that I can give is where we go one, we go all, where we need to fucking stick together, whether you like it or you don't. Divide and conquer is a real thing. It's been since the beginning of time. So it's time to get your head out of your ass, research, and spread the word of what the hell's really going on here. Hope you enjoy the clips after this. Chat soon.
5G, the industry, and again, Bill Gates is deeply involved in 5G. Driving it. He's, putting in satellites, I think 500 satellites, and tens of thousands of ground antenna. And the purpose of 5G, if you look at the glossy ads that they have on TV, they're kind of suggesting to you that it's going to change your life to have 5G. And you ought to think about that. Because why are they investing $1 trillion to give you, so that you can download your video games maybe a couple of seconds faster, or that you can download movies a couple of seconds faster? Does that make any sense to anybody? You have an Apple Watch. All the data from your Apple Watch, including your pulse, is going to be available now, and it's going to be sorted, archived, and characterized. Your health data, if Alexis is in your home and hears you cough, if these devices are listening to your cell phone, is listening to you all the time, and all of that information, a billion terabytes of information, is going to now be harvested by big companies like Microsoft and will be then sorted and sold. They'll have complete control of you. They'll know where you shopped, what you bought, what your buying patterns are. But also, a week ago, the Malibu police ticketed about a dozen surfers that were surfing at Point Dume for using the ocean. Give them $1,000 each tickets. Imagine if we get this 5G system in, the cops won't need to go to the beach and catch them, because they'll know you were at the beach. And they'll know from your GPS, from your cell phone, from facial recognition, from cameras that they mounted over, where you are and what you did 24 hours a day. And they will simply, because we're a cashless society, remove the $1,000 fine from your payroll account. And that's it. And
been more people wrong with modeling than right. And as much as I respect you, Dr. Fauci, I don't think you're the end all. I don't think you're the one person that gets to make a decision. We can listen to your advice, but there are people on the other side saying there's not going to be a surge and that we can safely open the economy, and the facts will bear this out. And yet the media continues to report that we have no evidence that patients who survive coronavirus have immunity. I think actually the truth is the opposite. We have no evidence that survivors of coronavirus don't have immunity, and a great deal of evidence to suggest that they do.
In rural states, we never really reached any sort of pandemic levels in Kentucky and other states. We have less deaths in Kentucky than we have in an average flu season. It's not to say this isn't deadly, but really outside of New England, we've had a relatively benign course for this virus nationwide. And I think the one-size-fits-all, that we're going to have a national strategy and nobody's going to go to school, is kind of ridiculous. We really ought to be doing it school district by school district, and the power needs to be dispersed because people make wrong predictions. And really the history of this, when we look back, will be of wrong prediction after wrong prediction after wrong prediction, starting with Ferguson in England. So I think we ought to have a little bit of humility in our belief that we know what's best for the economy. And as much as I respect you, Dr. Fauci, I don't think you're the end all. I don't think you're the one person that gets to make a decision. We can listen to your advice, but there are people on the other side saying there's not going to be a surge and that we can safely open the economy. And the facts will bear this out. But if we keep kids out of school for another year, what's going to happen is the poor and underprivileged kids who don't have a parent that's able to teach them at home are not going to learn for a full year. And I think we ought to look at the Swedish model, and we ought to look at letting our kids get back to school. I think it's a huge mistake if we don't open the schools in the fall. Thank you.
Like a diamond in the sky. we gon' roll from the floor to the top, no. Stop until it's sunny, pass the Dasani bottle, fill it with the cardio, fill it with the cardio, up like a bald eagle.